And when we look above, what we see are the regular patterns. Those regular patterns, the transformation of the different amount of light that goes through the year, the waxing and waning of the moon, and also the precession of the heavenly bodies in the sky are regular. That is, they change. We can calculate them, we can map them, we can know when these things changes, and we can predict when they're going to happen very, very precisely. More precisely than most of the patterns that you kind of see down here below. It's like a clock. It's like this giant clock by which now our lives and our days are managed by this clock. So the way that the light moves in the sky actually manages your day, right? It tells you when you're awake, it tells you when you're sleeping, it tells you what you can do, and it also is related to the season. So when certain things above are happening, it's cold, it's warm, it's time to plant, it's time to do the different things you do. Now, of course, today, because we live in a world of technology, we're a little abstracted from these patterns, but you have to understand that in the ancient world, the people lived by these patterns, the heavenly patterns. You could say it related to the idea of the heavenly spheres. If you think of the Pythagorean description, when it says that the spheres of heaven are making music, the spheres of heaven are making this music that only the initiated, only the very wise can hear. Now, we tend to think of it in a very materialistic way, but music just means patterns, right? That is, that the spheres of heaven have patterns, regular patterns, which are related to our lives and are related to how we organize our life. Maybe think of it that way, that the heavenly patterns are related to the way we organize our lives, to the way we give meaning and structure and direction to our lives down here below. Now, this, of course, is the way in which the ancient people would interact with these heavenly bodies. Now, of course, in the idea that we present here, and that also is presented in the Lord of Spirits, is that at some point people started to worship these heavenly patterns. They started to see them as absolute. Now, there are many heavenly patterns, and of course there are the heavenly bodies above, but there are also heavenly patterns in the sense that there are patterns of being. So there are certain patterns that manage, let's say, war. There are certain patterns that manage certain cities. There are certain patterns that manage different aspects of reality, love, desire, and all the natural patterns. And so people started to see them and started to worship them. And this is what we could call the fall of the angels or the fall of the gods. No matter where you see it happening in the story, there's a sense in which at some point these patterns started to ask worship for themselves. And this coincides, of course, when people started to give worship to those patterns. You can always see it bottom up or top down. It doesn't matter how you represent it. It's the same, really. And so it's what Christianity does and what Christ does is he reorganizes this into the right pattern, the right order, where it is that those that worship the stars are now taught by those very by a star, to worship you, the Son of Righteousness, that is the brightest light in the heaven, the light of heaven, which is the one by which we manage all our existence, the King of heaven, you could say. So you can see this right in the Old Testament, where the Son is placed as the King of heaven. And now it's not just the Son, the physical Son, but it's the Son of Righteousness. That is, the heavenly patterns are connected to meaning, just like they were at the beginning when it says your nativity has shown the world the light of wisdom. Now it's the light of righteousness. So it's connecting these heavenly bodies with the human experience or the human place of meaning and of morality and of human interaction. It reordered the heavenly patterns that you see above towards the higher meanings, which are the moral meanings, which are the meanings of our existence, the meaning of how we exist together and how we exist facing this highest meaning. The shepherds, they see in the heavens the patterns of heaven. That's what they have an experience of the patterns of heaven, which is the experience of the angels singing. What the Magi experience, the pattern of heaven pointing them towards the incarnation, and what the shepherds experience, that is the heavenly spheres singing for them, the heavenly beings singing for them. Those two things are the same in terms of what they are helping you understand of what is going on in the incarnation. And this is, of course, what Christianity does. This is, of course, the true transformation which happens in Christianity, which is that Christianity doesn't deny the existence of the intermediary beings, doesn't deny the patterns above, doesn't deny the existence of principalities and thrones and all of these beings that are in between us and God, but rather it conquers them in a powerful way, or it transforms them in a way that makes them not only these things which are competing with God and are trying to get our worship, like our passions, like all the different interests that we have, but is able to reorder them so that now these principalities, now these angels that are between us and God, whether it be your different capacity to pay attention to different things, whether it be the saints, whether it be, you're the king, or all these principalities that are in between us and God, they're able to reorient them so that they show us the higher pattern.